Hello friends, this is Sadhguru Shailaja Umakant Kamath. Friends, before starting my video, let me introduce myself. I have been a political journalist for last number of years, and there are several published articles to my credit. Besides that, I have been working in the education field as an educationist for last almost more than 18 years. At the same time, by profession, I am a HR man, and I have been conducting number of training sessions for the corporates. To write on political subject is my passion. Today, I am here with a new topic. Uh, exactly, this is not a new topic. It's a topic pertaining to the Indian National Congress. You must have noticed that last couple of days, whatever has been happening at Delhi in the Congress Working Committee, it's a really shameful for the party like Congress to come down to such level. So I thought that I should speak to common man about the current present state of affairs in the Indian National Congress. Uh, but before starting my actual video, let me tell you that please, COVID-19 pandemic is still going on. There is a there is a danger to human life, so you will have to take the maximum precaution to avoid the COVID-19. So do go by the instruction issued by the government. Those instructions are beneficial to you, your family, and the surrounding area where you are staying. Uh, Before starting my video, I would like to request you to please like, share, and subscribe my channel called Times of Maharashtra. Uh, uh, this your liking or subscription will definitely help me to come out with the number of videos on the number of different topics. Before starting my video on Indian National Congress, I want to make one thing very clear, that I am not a congressman. I am not a BJP wala. So I neither subscribe to Congress ideology nor to the BJP's ideology. But in spite of that, I do believe that Congress has to come up in the political arena of the India with the flying colors, because Congress has got the glorious past. Only because of the Congress efforts we got the independence. So I am going to tell you that what factors made Congress to come down to such a poor level. Who contributed? But which are those factors which compel Congress to come down to this level? What was Congress in earlier days? I am going to tell you about all these things. So let us start my video. Friends, to be very frank with you, I want to tell you one thing, that Congress, if you want to discuss anything about the Congress, we will have to go back to the pre-independence era. We'll have to divide that. The pre-independence era, post-independence era, then there comes the Nehru era, then Indira Gandhi's era, then almost all Rajiv Gandhi, Sanjay Gandhi, and the present Sonia and the Rahul Gandhi's era. So during pre-independence day, you will be surprised to know that Congress was not a recognized political party, and it was not at all working as a political party. It was a movement led by the Mahatma Gandhi ji and other leaders to achieve the goal of independence. And people and the political thought possible under the sun, all political thoughts and the different personalities possible under the sun were working in the Congress. There were the communists, there were socialists, there were capitalists, there were Hindutwadi, there were labor leaders, then there were student leaders, and the Congress was working as an umbrella. What Professor Rajni Kothari called it, Congress was working as a umbrella party, because it was carrying a different personalities and the ideology which are totally opposed to each other. It was a combination of all such things, and Congress was like an umbrella. It was a strange experiment. So, the main strength of the Congress was committed to the last man in the row of poverty. This situation continued even after independence. But after independence, communist, socialist, and the Hindutva left the Congress. Unfortunately, Mahatma Gandhi passed away. After that, great Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel also passed away. And that was a point when the actual real Nehru era started. You'll be happy to know that the Congress status of that umbrella party was virtually intact during the era of during Nehru era. Nehru used to face a lot of criticism inside outside Parliament. That is the one point. Secondly, number of journalists, reporters, editors, they used to write against Nehru. Nehru tolerated all these things. There was nobody, in the Nehru era, even after facing such a tremendous criticism, no person from the CBI or the ED ever knocked at the doors of the editors, then owners of the media houses or the reporters. That was a democracy. The present rulers, they must understand this. This is the meaning of democracy. And democracy was present there in the Nehru era. A number of things were happening in the Nehru era besides this. Nehru was instrumental in laying the foundation of the industrial growth of India. Nehru has a very scientific temper. Though he was fascinated by the Russian Revolution, he was concentrating mostly on the industrial development of India. After Nehru's death, or even I want to tell you one more thing. Even Nehru was tolerating all these things, and there was a plan even for Nehru. The Kamraj plan was planned by the opponents of Nehru in the Congress. It was for Nehru, but Nehru was smart enough, to make a counter attack on those opponents in the Indian National Congress. After demise of Pandit Nehru, there was a syndicate inside the Congress, which included Morarji Bhai Desai, Nijalingappa Congress, then Kamraj, and great S.K. Patil. They installed what they used to call as a Gungi Guriya, Indira Gandhiji, as a prime minister. That was their greatest political blunder to my mind, because Indiraji had been working under the excellent guidance, political guidance of her father, Pandit Nehru ji. She was a Congress president. She was a member of the cabinet, Nehru's cabinet. She had toured along with Nehru number of foreign countries. She was capable. And she was capable of understanding the international intricacies in the international political arena. Similarly, she was able to understand the caste politics in India. And these syndicate people, they had no idea about the grooming of Indira Gandhiji. So, within a span of few years, Indira Gandhi played such a tricks, and she almost destroyed the syndicate in the Congress. She announced the one of the greatest slogans in India, that is the Garibi Hatao. She withdrew the private purses of the kings and Maharajas. Then she nationalized the private commercial banks, and her slogan of Garibi Hatao was a main tool in her hand to approach the common man in India. Similarly, she encouraged the people like Chandrasekhar, Mohan Dhariaji, who were known as a Tarun Turk in the Indian National Congress. So she encouraged them and she almost destroyed all the syndicate members one by one. At the same time, she understood and she realized that there were number of capable, efficient, and dominant leader in the Congress party. So she started dismantling the chain of efficient leaders in the Congress, those at the central level, because those leaders, they had come up in the Congress by putting in real hard work, intelligence, right from the village level. They had worked in the villages, they were working in their cities, then they were leaders at the state level, and on the strength of their excellent performance in their particular states, they were called at the center. She realized the danger after dismantling the syndicate members or a syndicate in the Indian National Congress. She realized the threat from these leaders. So she started playing a trick on those leaders, and she planned it systematically to destroy the basic base of these powerful central leaders in the Indian National Congress. During this process, Congress had one tradition. Congress in the pre-independence era, post-independence era, and even in the Nehru era, Congress central leaders understood the importance of the village level activists of the Congress. They knew this village level Congress worker is committed, he is experienced, he has a lot of understanding, he has got depth in his understanding the political systems in India, and they understood the caste politics in India. So they used to give, these central leaders used to give lot of importance to the opinion of the Congress workers at the village level. During the process of this dismantling the syndicate members, and after that the powerful central leaders in the Indian National Congress, Indiraji destroyed this village level worker completely. That was a great shock in the Indian politics. And when the process started destroying the base of these central leaders, powerful leaders, she encouraged the Congress worker who were of ordinary caliber, the workers who did not have a public support in their respective states. She encouraged them, and she offered them important post in a party, in a government, to checkmate the central leaders. That was a great blunder on her part. As far as Maharashtra is concerned, in Maharashtra we had a great Yashwantrao Chauhan, Vasantdada Patil, Vasantrao. They were stalwarts in the state politics and even at the central. So to destroy their base, she encouraged the people like Nasikirao Tirpude, then Ram Pandagale, Barrister Antule, Baba Saheb Bhosle, right to our present Ashok Chavan. He is a present Congress leader in Maharashtra. She encouraged such type of people, and these people realized that nobody opposed her, because when she was destroying the syndicate in the Congress, at the same time she was winning the elections also. And she started hammering the minds of the Congress workers and the party office bearer that there is no substitute for Indiraji. There is no alternative to Indiraji. Indiraji is India, India is Indira. So there was no question, and without without putting in any hard work or struggle, the people of ordinary caliber, they started getting the important portfolios, important places, important posts in the party as well as in the government. And at this point of time, she instilled one whimsical thought in their mind, that if you want a post in a party or in the government, you will have to loyal to Indiraji and her Gandhi family. Nobody realized, but people in the Congress, workers in the Congress, nobody opposed. And she was able to instill that thought in their minds. During this process, what happened? She was not able to give a focus. She was not able to focus on her energies on the economic field. So lot of in during 1970, and besides that, she was not able to focus anything on the economic field. She was winning elections. 1971's Bangladesh war gave her a lot of popularity, followed by the 1970 elections. She got a tremendous success in 1972 elections. So she was able to establish a grip on the party as well as in the government. From 1969 to 1972-73, she was able to establish a grip on the party as well as on the government. In the government, nobody had any dare to oppose her. During this process, she destroyed the party culture. She destroyed the Congress worker, and instilled the thought in their mind and heart that there is no substitute for the Indiraji. She is the sole supreme commander. She is the sole supreme leader of the Congress party. As a result, she failed to concentrate on giving a new dynamism to the economy. So trouble started. It multiplied. There were strikes. There were agitations, and that time Lokanayak Jaiprakash Narayan, Sarvodaya leader, who was an earlier member, he was a Congress leader in a pre-independence era. He entered the active politics again. And in Gujarat, he gave a call for a Navanirman. And within a span of 6 months or 1 year, he destroyed Indiraji. She declared emergency, and in 1977, she took elections. But by that time, Jaiprakash ji had destroyed her political base. She lost elections, Lok Sabha election in 1977. And Jaiprakash ji tried his hand to form a first non-Congress government at center under the leadership of Morarji Desai. It failed miserably. The venture failed miserably. Morarji Desai's government failed miserably, and within a span of 2.5 years, 30 months, government collapsed. Indiraji was very smart. She was very smart. She came back. She came back to the power as center by winning 1980 elections. This was a turning point in her career as well as in the history of the Congress. In her second innings, in the second Indira era, unfortunately, she developed a wrong thinking or a wrong political thought in her mind and in her heart that it is a prerogative of the Gandhi-Nehru family to rule India. Because she totally failed in 1977, and there was nobody in the Congress to oppose her in the 1980. She had developed a platform or a foundation for a destruction of the Congress from the 1969 to 1975. So she thought that now there is no danger to her political career. So she developed that thought, nurtured that thought that it is a prerogative of the Gandhi-Nehru family to rule over India. That was a turning point in the history of the Congress. Then she instilled that thought. She started instilling that thought in the minds of the Congress workers, office bearers, ministers, everywhere. And people agreed. Because by this time people were used to get party post, either party post or work in a cabinet, in a state government or the central government, without putting in hard work, without dedications. The Congress worker, as far the original Congress worker had vanished. By this time, the original Congress worker had vanished. So she was able to install that dirty thought successfully in the minds of the Congress worker and office bearers and the ministers in her second term. I had a number of journalist friends in Delhi, as well as I knew a number of Congress leaders in New Delhi during those period in 1980s. They used to tell me, some of them told me that Indiraji used to take her dinner with her all family members. During this process, she successfully put that dirty thought or a wrong thought or thinking that to rule India is a prerogative of the Gandhi Nehru family in the minds and hearts of Maneka Gandhi, Sanjay Gandhi, Sonia Gandhi, Rajiv Gandhi successfully. As a result of that, after that, Sanjay era started for a couple of years. After his demise, Rajiv Gandhi came. And Rajiv Gandhi went on to become Prime Minister of India without having any qualification. Rajiv and nobody in the Congress opposed. When he was nominated or selected after Indira Gandhi's death to become a Prime Minister, nobody in the Congress could oppose his nomination. Because Indira ji has already destroyed the entire structure of the Congress. Rajiv ji became a Prime Minister of India only on the strength that he was a son of Indira Gandhi ji. He had no previous worthwhile experience in the political arena. He had not worked in the political field. He had not experience in the party functioning. He had no background of doing any social work apart from the politics. But in spite of that, he became the Prime Minister of India. That was a real tragedy of the Indian National Congress. Or you can say this was to become a Prime Minister, or Rajiv Gandhi's Prime Ministership is a byproduct of what Indira ji had started the process in 1969. After Rajiv Gandhi's unfortunate death, there were a number of leaders like Narasimha Rao, Arjun Singh, Sharad Pawar. They were really capable leaders to lead Congress. But these people did not, the workers whom Indira ji had groomed, they did not allow this. However, Narasimha Rao did not allow Gandhi Nehru family to interfere in his entire 5 years career role as a Prime Minister of India. But in 1998, Congress lost the power. And the slavish mentality or slavish Congress worker starting sending delegations, calling press conferences, and emphasizing the fact that there is no alternative to Congress other than Sonia Gandhi. By this time, Sonia ji has also accepted that dirty thinking that it is a prerogative of the Gandhi Nehru family to rule India. So, she entered the active politics in 1998 by overthrowing Narasimha Rao, Sitaram Kesri, and she became the President of the Indian National Congress without having any experience or any qualification in the political field. Only on the strength of that, she belongs to the Gandhi Nehru family. She became the President of the Indian National Congress. After that, in 2004, Vajpayee government lost the elections. And before that, Vajpayee had a two-stint. 12 days he was a Prime Minister, again for 1 year he was a Prime Minister. In the second term, there was a chance for Congress to form the government. And Sonia ji was ready to become a Prime Minister. During that period, in opposition parties, Sushma Swaraj opposed her nomination, and in Indian National Congress, Sharad Pawar was put up a banner of revolt in a Congress for a nomination. So in 2004, when Congress, along with the communists, then socialists and some other regional parties, left parties, Congress was able to form the government. She declined, and these people created a orchestra that she sacrificed, but she knew she can't become a Prime Minister. So she nominated a sober gentleman, Manmohan Singh, as a Prime Minister. Indira ji was installed as a Prime Minister because she was like a Gundi Gudiya. Here, see the difference. Here, Sonia ji installed a Gungi Guda Manmohan Singh because she knew that he will not be in a position to oppose Gandhi Nehru family because he was a non-political man. He was an economist, and Rahul and Sonia ji did not give him a free hand to work to operate. Even he did not get the operational liberty to run the government. Arjun Singh, the man like Arjun Singh, used to challenge him in the cabinet meetings. However, he gave a new look to our Indian economy. And on the other hand, Sonia ji was able to keep entire glare of focus on her as a UPA chairman. She continued the same policy which Indira ji, her mother-in-law, had instructed. It's a prerogative to rule. So she encouraged the people of ordinary caliber, those who did not have a public support or good image in the society, offered them a party post, ministries in the state as well as the central. Same policy. There was not a single incident whereby she stood by the ordinary powerful political worker of the Congress party, or she took efforts to build up a new Congress. She never did that. She continued the same policy. I call it a destruction of the Congress. That policy's title was destroy the Congress culture and destruction of the Congress party. She continued the same policy. See, in her last long 22 years political career, what she has done? What new policies or what dynamism she had added to the Indian economy or polity? What new traditions she has formed in the Indian political field? Nothing. She is just reading the drafted letters. That is her career. But beyond that, she can't go. Has she formed any international policy or a foreign policy of India? Has she given dynamism in the Indian economy? In fact, there were many corruption cases during this 2004 to 2014. She was not able to control that because her entire focus was on the Gandhi Nehru family or on her only. On the other hand, what her son was doing, Rahul Gandhi, he was all along sleeping. And he gave a great performance by tearing the pages of policy formed by the Indian Prime Minister. He did not put in hard work there. During those 10 years were a golden opportunity for Rahul Gandhi to learn basic fundamentals of the polity, to understand the caste system, the cooperative movement, the caste politics in Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, Delhi, Haryana. He was getting a golden opportunity. But he frittered away all those things. He was enjoying his life. He was not very serious about the politics. And he was not able to respect the caliber and the understanding of the senior leaders. So as a result of that, Congress was not in a position to honor the knowledge, dignity of the Congress leaders. Dynamism was never encouraged during this period. In fact, they were trying to kill that dynamism. Wherever they find is a dynamic guy, then they used to hammer him. As a result of that, what the Congress is facing nowadays, or what you see at the Congress Working Committee at Delhi for last couple of days, is a product of the traditions or the measures started by late Indira Gandhi in 1969. With Gandhi Nehru family leading the Indian National Congress, take it from me, it's a writing on the wall that Congress has no future at all. Because to rule a country like India, which has got a different cultures, different religions, it's not a joke, it's not an ordinary thing. You need to put in hard work to understand such things. You need to understand Indian history, Indian sociology, Indian caste politics, different train, different lobbies. You have to understand these factors, and for that you have to put in hard work. And Rahul and Priyanka were not able to put in hard work and did not have a capacity to understand these things. That is why Congress is losing. See, for example, in 2014, Congress got just 40 seats. In 2019, they got 62 Parliament Lok Sabha seats. I think, to my mind, it's the end has begun. It is the beginning of the end for a Congress party. If the Gandhi Nehru family, they decide to lead the Indian National Congress, I think it is a beginning of the end. And if they really love, if they have any faith in the Congress ideology, to my mind, the solution is that they should keep aloof from the Congress politics or Congress political Indian National Congress for next 10 years. They should not participate in the active politics. Then what will happen? The real Congress worker at the village level, who is in a slumberous mood now, he does not want to work. He does not want to put in hard work now. He'll start finding a new avenues to fight the odds. He'll fight for the rights of the downtrodden classes, for the minorities, for the economically weaker sections of people. They'll start fighting for that. They'll start the organization skills. So, in a time to come, you will find leaders at every layer of the political field. Village level, city level, state level and the central level. And in the future, it may happen that like Narendra Modi ji, common man, any farmer's son or somebody like that will come up to lead the Congress in the future next 10 years down the line. And at that point of time, take it from me, the entire nation, each and every worker of Congress, Indian National Congress will say thank you to the Gandhi Nehru family for encouraging and allowing Congress to develop its own strength. Because Congress has got a glorious history, which Indira ji only for that, that thought, criminal thought, I say it's a criminal thought, that Nehrus and Gandhis only can lead the country, it's their prerogative. If they really love this nation, if they really admit the Congress ideology, with the present Sonia ji, Rahul ji and Priyanka Gandhi, they should keep aloof from the active politics of the Indian National Congress. And they should, after their departure from the Congress should concentrate only on the welfare of the last man in the row of the poverty. Congress has to live, and Congress has to come up with the flying colors in the time to come. Because to have a strong democracy, we need to have two parties. So there is a ruling party. So for opposition party, only Congress can play that role. So for benefit of the nation, for the benefit of our society, Congress has to come up in a future with the flying colors. This is what I believe. My entire exercise to have a dialogue with you is to tell you that we need a Congress. Congress, though I am not a Congress fan, I feel that Congress has to stay there. Congress has to come up. Congress has to be developed by some people on some valid reasons. So friends, just react to my opinion, my discussion with you. Put your remarks. And what I want to tell you, you can see me on my Twitter account. You can see me, visit my blog, sadgurukamat.blogspot.com. You can see my Facebook page. On my blog, you will find all articles I have been writing in Marathi and English and Hindi on the different political subjects. Those people who are interested in the politics, they should read those articles, see my videos. And those students who are doing their studies in the political science, I think for them there is a lot of material if they visit my blog. Till then, take care. Thank you.